Hey guys, let's get more news about Dallas, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Dolphins release perfect Speedy running back for Cowboys to sign. The Dallas Cowboys have done extremely well adding to their roster. In the last week, they signed edge rusher Carl Lawson and traded for defensive tackle Jordan Phillips to fill huge needs along the defensive line. Viewed as an afterthought trade, the Cowboys' acquisition of cornerback Andrew Booth already looks like a win. A second-round pick in 2022, Booth led Dallas with 8 tackles in Saturday's preseason win over the Raiders. His talent will be tough to leave off the 53-man roster. Jerry Jones has hinted that the Cowboys aren't done adding to their defense, specifically the defensive tackle position. However, fans have waited with bated breath for the front office to bring in a new running back. They might need to hold out a little longer before final cuts to get their wish. Or do they? The Dolphins released Salvon Ahmed on Monday in a flurry of roster moves. Ahmed would bring a needed speed element to a Dallas backfield that is otherwise composed of powerful, bruising runners. The writing has been on the wall for Ahmed ever since the Dolphins drafted Tennessee star Jalen Wright, a draft crush for many Cowboys fans, in the 4th round. The Dolphins already had a star-studded backfield headlined by 2023 third-round pick Devon Achane, who averaged 7.8 yards per carry as a rookie, and veteran Raheem Mostert, who rushed for 1,012 yards and 18 touchdowns last season. It's no surprise that Ahmed became expendable, but that's no indictment on Ahmed. Claimed off waivers before the 2020 season, Ahmed appeared in 38 games, 4 starts, with Miami over 4 seasons. He turned heads as an undrafted rookie with 319 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns on 4.3 yards per carry. Unfortunately for Ahmed, the Dolphins have since rebuilt their backfield and he has seen just 34 carries over the last 2 seasons. Ahmed's stock has fallen, but he'd step in as the fastest and most explosive rusher in the Cowboys' backfield. He has a career 69.3 rushing grade, per Pro Football Focus, subscription required. He also has never fumbled on 163 career carries. Many Cowboys fans would rather the team wait for a more accomplished rusher to get released. Javonte Williams, Khalil Herbert, Dameon Pierce and Miles Sanders are names to watch in that regard. However, there is no guarantee that any of them get cut. There also isn't anything that says the Cowboys can't sign Ahmed and circle back on a bigger name once teams submit their 53-man rosters. Ezekiel Elliott, Rico Dowdle and, likely, Hunter Luepke are roster locks. Royce Freeman has impressed since signing and Deuce Vaughn finally looked like the player we saw at Kansas State in Saturday's preseason game. However, the lack of juice and explosion from the backfield has been glaring. Ahmed brings both attributes to the table. He is worth kicking the tires on. Cowboys add another big body to defense with Linval Joseph, as Jerry Jones promised. On Tuesday, Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones intimated that the team wasn't done adding to the defensive line, even with the recent additions defensive end Carl and defensive tackle Jordan Phillips last week. The Cowboys proved Jones correct on Wednesday, coming to terms on a 1-year deal with veteran nose tackle Linval Joseph, a source confirmed. The 6'4", 329-pound Joseph was brought in to rotate with Motzie Smith at the nose tackle position and help bolster the run defense. It was a move that was a long time coming as the 2-time Pro Bowler Joseph, 35, is reunited with Cowboys defensive coordinator Mike Zimmer, who coached him for 6 seasons with the Minnesota Vikings. The Cowboys have gotten decidedly bigger in the middle of the defense with addition of Joseph and the 6'6", 341-pound Phillips, who will rotate with Osa Odigizua at the 3-technique tackle spot. They give the Cowboys more size and experience to hold up against the run and play the correct technique of occupying blockers so the linebackers can be free to make plays. Joseph has been credited with 676 tackles in a career that began as a second-round pick of the New York Giants in 2010. He was a teammate of Phillips with the Buffalo Bills last season. Cowboys sign two-time Pro Bowler in late defensive move, report. The Dallas Cowboys are adding one of the NFL's most proven veterans to reinforce their defense before the 2024 season begins. After 14 years and stints with 5 other NFL teams, Linval Joseph is taking his talents to Cowboys Stadium. The move was first reported on August 21 by longtime NFL insider Josina Anderson. Joseph had been a free agent this entire offseason, but now has a new home with Dallas. Breaking, I'm told the hashtag Cowboys are signing DT Linval Joseph, per source, Anderson wrote on X. Joseph arrives shortly after Cowboys defensive coordinator Mike Zimmer publicly called for the team to add to the nose tackle position, more on that below. In his prime, Joseph was one of the NFL's premier players at that position and he was playing under Zimmer with the Minnesota Vikings. However, he is just over a month away from his 36th birthday. Joseph's latest stint with the Buffalo Bills wasn't exactly a success, but Dallas will likely not be looking for a huge role for Joseph. Instead, Joseph will probably take on a rotational role that will give the Cowboys a fresh force on the interior. During the 2016 and 2017 seasons, Joseph was a force of nature on a talented NFL defense. It's hard for defensive tackles to stand out, but on a defense that boasted multiple Pro Bowlers, Joseph did just that for the Vikings. In 2016, Joseph made a whopping 77 tackles, earning 5 tackles for loss and 4 sacks. He followed up with 68 tackles in 2017, adding another 5 TFL and 3.5 sacks according to Pro Football Reference. The years before and after featured plenty of success too, but it was with Minnesota and Zimmer that Joseph had his best years. Over the past 2 years, Joseph has struggled to make an impact with new teams. While he started 11 total games for the Philadelphia Eagles, he failed to produce at the same rate. With the Bills, Joseph struggled to get on the field. He did not start once in 7 appearances and only played 35% of Buffalo's defensive snaps. As mentioned above, Joseph's arrival correlates with the Cowboys publicly admitting they needed coverage at DT. On August 14, Zimmer told reporters that he likes what young Cowboys DT Motzi Smith is doing but that they still need reinforcements. Motzi has done a good job in there. We have got to find some more noses obviously, see how these young guys do. So just kind of going from there, Zimmer said. On the Cowboys' official website, the depth chart lists no second-string nose tackle with Justin Rogers as the 3rd string. Essentially, the chart itself is showing that Dallas doesn't have a second viable option for the nose tackle job. Bringing in Joseph ought to help both in the present and the future. Joseph is a proven player who should be able to hold his own. But he is also one of the most experienced players in the league at this point and ought to be able to teach Smith a thing or two this year. And you fan? What do you think of the situation of Linval Joseph? Leave your opinion in the comments.